Hello. I'm gonna do something a bit different here today and break down a mechanic from Lethal Company. If you're new here and just want the TLDR on any strategies you can take away from this video, just spam jump. If you're crossing the bridge with another player or carrying heavy items, having everyone jump repeatedly while crossing will make it less likely to collapse. But I do have more to say on this, and you can jump to the timestamp on the screen if you'd like a more detailed summary of the strategies available. Of course, this game is still in early access, and all of my testing is only as recent as version 45, so if anything changes, I'll leave a pinned comment below. For everyone else who wants to know what I'm even talking about, or what I've learned about the bridge so far, welcome. Quick introduction here, but I'd like to start by saying that I've been enjoying the hell out of Lethal Company. It's a co-op horror game where you have to land on various moons to scavenge resources. Every day you have limited time to go collect stuff, and the goal is to try to make it back to your ship alive before it takes off at midnight. This game lands squarely on the comedic side of horror, and it's a game best played with friends, so if that sounds interesting to you, I recommend giving it a shot, going in as blind as possible. I don't want to spoil too much here, but to show a quick example of how everything can turn into a comedy of errors really quickly, here's a clip of me learning the hard way about lightning.
Oh, monster. Oh, no, that's a person.
Oh, that's a big spider!
Oh my god, there's a giant spider!
I'm running.
Oh my god, listen to how many legs it has. Oh! It opens the
No, way, did he die?
Pardon me, sneeze.
Oh no, I think he died.
He died. Okay, so here's...
This isn't a sponsored video, and I didn't get this game with any intention of making videos about it. So far I've just been playing while friends stream it. But after seeing this bridge collapse a few times, this quickly put me back on my BS of needing to know how something in a video game works. What makes this happen when it's often perfectly safe to cross? Does it have a health bar? What's the weight threshold? And does repeated uses put it in jeopardy? Here's what I found. First of all, the bridge mechanics are always consistent. It doesn't matter what randomized seed of the moon you get. There's no such thing as winding up on a variant of Vow, where it's more damaged and collapses faster, or anything like that. And to get unrelated weather conditions out of the way, floodwaters don't affect it, and it doesn't attract lightning or become more dangerous when struck by lightning. This is fine. The bridge collapsing is caused by standing on it for too long. If you're carrying 11 pounds or less, and you're on the bridge by yourself, it'll collapse after standing on it for 50 seconds. 50 seconds is way more than enough time to cross, so this is why most players don't run into any problems their first time using it. Behind the scenes, it has a hidden health or durability bar of sorts. This number here is counting down from 1 to 0, and when it hits 0 is when the bridge collapses. However, things immediately become much more dangerous when you're carrying anything above 11 pounds. The time needed to collapse the bridge makes a drastic leap from requiring 50 seconds to only taking roughly 15 seconds. From here, there aren't any more sudden breakpoints, but the amount of time it takes does continue to decrease further with increased weight. It's fairly gradual, dropping from 15 seconds at just over 11 pounds to roughly 10 seconds around 100 pounds. I didn't bother testing this at a resolution to try and figure out an exact formula. Also, I'm not very good at math, but if anyone wants to take this further, please let me know if you do. I'll link to my research in the video description, and here's a graph you can pause and look at if you want. I figure that's good enough for now. Something important to know about the bridge's behavior is that it heals itself after you step off of it, and its durability always refills completely to full. The rapid restoration of durability means that you never have to wait more than 5 seconds to have a clean attempt at crossing it again. That's the longest amount of time it could possibly take to heal if you just barely avoid collapse. So if you've seen other player crossing it and it buckles pretty badly for them, but you yourself aren't on it yet, just wait for them to finish crossing and simply wait a few seconds. You don't have to worry about the bridge just because you saw it buckling a brief moment ago. It's already as good as new here. And the way the durability bar quickly refills can be exploited to some extent. Bearing in mind that the bridge requires standing on it to lose health, this means that jumping alleviates that stress for the brief moment that you're in the air. It might be counterintuitive that jumping while carrying heavy stuff is actually much safer for this rickety bridge, but the durability refills so rapidly that it's possible to fully heal it by spamming jump. If you're alone, this all makes the bridge mostly a non-concern, no matter how heavy you are. Even if you're overburdened to a ridiculous degree, and wouldn't normally have enough time to cross the bridge just walking, there's no weight where spamming jump won't allow you to cross. Now, if you do things incorrectly, it is still possible to run out of stamina and not be able to jump often enough. Here's an example where that does cause the bridge to collapse. However, when you bear in mind that just jumping uses up far less stamina than sprinting, here's another attempt where I don't sprint at all. Instead, I enter the bridge with full stamina and just walk while spamming jump. This is literally the heaviest you can possibly be, and I'm still able to cross it, when it should have collapsed in roughly 5.5 seconds otherwise. Jumping really buys you a lot of time. Also note that items dropped directly on the bridge don't contribute to its stress, so you can also drop items if need be. You have to actually carry the item for the bridge to acknowledge it. Most of the video so far has only been relevant if you're on the bridge by yourself, because things get a lot worse with multiple players. I'm gonna get this out of the way because you might be wondering, how much do players weigh? This is gonna sound funny, but I don't think they have a proper weight. At least, not an inherent one that's comparable to the weight of objects we carry. For example, if I have 2 players stand on the bridge both at 0 weight, time how long that takes, and compare that to the amount of weight a solo player would need to carry to make it collapse in the same amount of time, you might think that that would tell us how much the other player weighs. But without getting into too much detail here, just trust me that it does not work that way. Having extra players does make it collapse faster, though. A lot faster. 2 players with 0 weight will make it collapse in 12.5 seconds instead of 50. 3 players with 0 weight will make it collapse in roughly 5.5 seconds. And 4 players will make it collapse in just over 3 seconds. I hope that gives you a ballpark understanding of what's happening here, but there are some weird quirks to stacking multiple players. For example, if we have 2 players on the bridge, but one player is carrying nothing and the other has a little over 11 pounds, it'll collapse in roughly 8 seconds. Now, if we do another test, where each player has exactly 11 pounds, for a combined total of 22, it collapses in roughly 12 seconds instead. That's right. 22 pounds should be heavier than 12 pounds, but 12 pounds makes it collapse 4 seconds faster in this case. Why? It's because in that combined total of 22 pounds, neither player went over 11 pounds. When we remember that for a solo player, 11 pounds was the boundary between a 50-second and 15-second collapse, this reveals that even with multiple players, at least one person has to be carrying over 11 pounds to make the more severe durability damage kick in. That is still treated as an important breakpoint, completely independent of what the combined weight is. So let's review what the time looks like with multiple players if just one person is carrying a little over 11 pounds, while the rest of the players have nothing. This helps give a sense of the time you have when the severe durability damage just turns on for one of the players. Like, just imagine everyone is going in empty-handed, but one player has a boombox or whatever. Again, 2 players will make it collapse in roughly 8 seconds, 3 players will make it collapse in roughly 4.5 seconds, and 4 players will make it collapse in a little under 3 seconds. So to finally turn all this useless data into an actionable strategy, I'll summarize some helpful tips now. You might find these to be a great asset. Number 1. If you're by yourself, you don't have anything to worry about. If you're extremely heavy, go in with a full stamina bar and walk without sprinting, while spamming jump as rapidly as possible. Number 2. If you're crossing with another player, you should both be spamming jump the entire time. Ideally, your jumping should be in sync, which I know is difficult to execute, but if it's perfectly alternated, you won't be alleviating the bridge long enough and it can still collapse. Number 3. Don't ever cross with 3 players or more. Simple as that. Remember that with 3 players, it collapses in just a little over 5 seconds, even if everyone has 0 weight. So roughly 5 seconds is normally your best case scenario with that many players, which is simply not enough time to cross. While it's theoretically possible to have a lot of players cross at the same time without causing collapse, that's only if everyone can spam jump perfectly in sync, which is pretty much impossible in execution. So don't risk it. You should treat 2 players as a de facto maximum capacity for the bridge. So here's a couple fun demonstrations I tried putting together. I wanted to know how fast the bridge can possibly break. I don't know how perfectly in sync we got this. Maybe someone else could mass teleport an entire group of players to the same Y coordinate above the bridge, but I did load everyone up with the maximum possible weight allowed without cheats. Now everyone's got 3 gold bars and a cash register. This made the bridge collapse in roughly 2 seconds. This should be the fastest it can normally collapse, unless we really screwed up stepping onto it at the same time, which we might have. Seems like it should probably collapse even faster, but who knows. And can we go even further with cheating? The answer is yes. The most you can carry if you start altering the weight of things is 1,050 pounds. Trying to mod the weight of anything to be higher than that just caps it there. That's one heavy cookie mold pan. And holy crap does that mess up your movement speed. We managed to make the bridge collapse in under half a second. And given the error bars with counting this precisely, I really don't know how fast that was exactly. We don't even get to see 2 different ticks of damage in Cheat Engine to be able to calculate a rate. It's essentially instant, but seemingly takes longer than a few frames, at least. But you really don't have to go so hard with max weight to make the bridge collapse near instantly. If all 4 players are just above the 11 pound mark, let's say 16 pounds, the bridge still isn't going to last much longer than a couple seconds. To end the video, let's see what happens with some enemies. The eyeless dogs don't have any effect on the bridge. I managed to get 2 of them on here, and you can see how the durability drains at its normal rate while I'm on it, and while I'm off of it, it fully reheals. So don't plan on using the bridge to get away from the dogs. Same goes for the baboon hawks. But the forest giants will make it collapse faster if you're both on there at the same time. On their own, they make it collapse at a rate of roughly 0.1666 durability damage per second, taking 6 seconds in total. Faster, obviously, if you've already depleted its durability some. You can use this to get some distance between you and the giant, but collapsing the bridge on them won't do anything fancy like stun them. And if the bridge collapses while you're being eaten, that unfortunately won't interrupt them either. If you enjoyed this video, thanks for watching. Consider liking and leaving comments, all the usual stuff YouTubers always nag you about, it really helps. I would also suggest subscribing, but this channel mostly focuses on deep dives into the Souls games, and I don't yet know if I'll actually make any of their videos on Lethal Company. I'm not currently planning on it, but I wasn't planning on making this either, so who knows if the inspiration will strike again. I'd like to thank Fens, Keith Ballard, The Sad Games, and Birdcatcher for helping me collapse the bridge repeatedly, and Fino the Fox for some additional help. And of course, a huge thanks to all of my backers on Patreon. Have a great day.